We're back then with another in-depth breakdown for Marvel's Midnight Suns. Today we'll have a look at Spider-Man. He really is pretty spectacular, pun intended. Now, with this video, I'm able to do this because I've had access to the game for the last few weeks. I got an early review copy, so I've got all heroes at max level, all cards are maxed out, they're at tier 2, and I've got all friendships upgraded for the characters as well. So that's the reason I'm able to cover absolutely everything you need to know about Spider-Man in this video. Now, the sections we'll have here, we'll start off with an overview, we'll talk about his general playstyle, we'll then check out his cards next, and it's all the tier 2 upgrades. We'll talk about stat priority next. We then have the Hangouts and the friendship system. We'll then have a look at his challenge mission, and then finishing up we'll show off some gameplay. Now, if the video is helpful, please do take the time to hit a like, share and subscribe button, and if you want early access to other videos in this series, consider becoming a channel member as well. But let's dive in, let's start breaking all this down. Spidey then plays really exactly as you would expect. He's got 3 elements to his kit. He's got the environmental aspect, so various cards will allow him to gain additional moves, so you can position yourself for environmental attacks. You've then got the brawling aspect, and his brawling attacks, as you're going to see in just a moment with this gameplay here, it allows him to zip all over the screen with his webs and take enemies out, so that is a ton of fun. And then on top of that, you've got the crowd control element as well. So from a thematic point of view, they've absolutely nailed him, and he's got a lot of flexibility in his kit, so I would say he's definitely on the upper end when it comes to the different characters and their strengths. So that is a quick overview of Spidey. Let's go in there and let's break down his cards. Heroes then have access to 10 different cards in total. It's the tier 2 version of the cards we will be looking at. In regards to mods, there's a lot going on with that system, so I'm going to do deep dive videos on mods and specific heroes at a later date. But the first card we look at, basically all your heroes have a version in this card, very useful for taking out your lower level minions without using one of your precious card juices per turn. So this is called Quick Kick. This one has got knockback, it's got quick, so when you defeat an enemy with this, it doesn't cost you a card. And if the target was damaged this turn because it's upgraded to tier 2, you do an additional 119% damage. So some of these quick cards will only hit one target, for example, so the fact this has got knockback in it and you can hit 2 targets makes it really nice, so you want to use 1 or 2 of these. Next up here we have Chain Strike. This is a pretty awesome card. So this one, if the target will be KO'd, then you chain to another target. When this is upgraded to tier 2, it moves from a maximum of 3 targets to 4. So if you've got 4 of your lower level minions, you can take all of them out with this one particular card, and the area that you can actually chain seems to be pretty large as well. So yeah, this is a pretty awesome card, this one. The next card we have here can be nice for your environment style setup. So this is Special Delivery. You've got Forceful Knockback towards Spider-Man. If you knock out the enemy, then you gain 1 move, so that can be really useful for positioning for your environmental builds. Also with this, it's not specifically part of the card, but you get a base upgrade later on in the game that when you actually knock an enemy into one of the heroes, and that can actually include yourself with this move, then you will draw a card as well. So essentially you can add drawing a card onto this one. So overall, the fact it's generating 1 energy as well can be a pretty useful card. We move on to the skill based cards next here. This one is Spider Sense. So with this, you draw 2 Spider-Man cards, you gain 1 fast. What that means for Spider-Man, it reduces the heroic cost of cards by 1, and you gain 1 resist, which means the next attack you get, you won't take any damage at all. On top of that, you're gaining 2 heroic energy via mods, and I've got one of them myself. You can actually gain 4 heroic energy with this card, so this can be really useful. It's genuinely a card you'll use after you've used Spider-Man's Midnight Suns cards that we're going to look at in just a few minutes. So good card, this one, once again. This card here is called Opportunist. This one I'm a bit torn on. Now what the card does, it's the next 2 Spider-Man environment attacks cost 0 heroism and deal additional damage. In this instance it's an extra 59 damage. In the grand scheme of things, that's really not a lot. You will gain 2 additional moves this turn, so it's great for positioning. You also get 2 heroic energy. Now the reason I'm a bit torn on this card is it's fun to play an environmental build Spider-Man, but one thing I've noticed is via Spider-Man's kit and a card we're going to look at next, you can get strengthened where you do an additional 50% damage. That doesn't apply to environmental attacks at all. In late game, once you start upping the difficulty a bit, the environmental attacks really don't do that much damage, so they fall down a little bit. Hopefully at a later date they will look to patch this, but yeah, so this card I'm a bit torn on it myself. Let me know what you personally think of it, but let's have a look at the next one. So this is a card then that offers you the Strengthen, which is the additional 50% damage for your cards, but once again it doesn't affect environmental attacks. It's called Web Slinger. You'll gain 1 Strengthen, so it's just for 1 turn. You don't gain any Heroism. However, I've got a modded version that allows me to gain 1 Heroism. It's actually really nice considering the fact as well, you'll notice this card has got 3 on it, so it doesn't cost a card juice to give yourself Heroism and to give yourself Strengthened as well. So this one's pretty awesome. I'd recommend taking 1 or 2 of these if you're looking to go down the damage route on Spidey. We then have Twip, if that's how you say that. So this card, it costs 2 heroic energy. It applies Bind, which means that enemy can't move during their next turn. Environmental attacks against the target deal 50% increased damage. Now, if you do your environmental attack against an enemy that's got bind in them, it will break them out of it. The fact that your environmental attacks don't hit that hard, I wouldn't say it's worthwhile actually using the second portion of the card. So if you were to use it, I would use it for a crowd control setup where you're using it purely for the bind. Don't then break that bind, which defeats the purpose of the card and just turns it into a card increasing the environmental attack by 50%, which is a pretty low amount in the first instance. The next card we have here is one that's really nice for your larger enemies and your bosses, so it's called Up Here. The base damage on it is really pretty decent considering the heroism cost. It's only 2 heroism. It applies 2 weeks, so for 2 turns the enemy you apply this on will do 50% less damage, which is a huge amount. Also with this, nearby enemies will take, it's only 59 damage, which isn't a lot, but if you've got your lower level minions that essentially can't take any damage, then it will take them out. So again, a really useful card, and one I'll save again for when you're playing a mission in the likes of Corrupted Venom or Corrupted Scarlet Witch might just decide to just come in, then this card can be perfect for nullifying them for a few turns. I feel that I'm repeating myself here, but we have another great card for Spidey. So it's free heroism, it's Web Throw. So this one is forceful knockback in any direction. What makes it really nice is nearby enemies take damage as well, and it's in a pretty large area. So you'll do your damage in the area around Spidey, you'll throw the enemy, they'll hit into another enemy and they'll take additional damage. And via mods I've been lucky enough to get a quick version of this, which means if I defeat an enemy, which most times I will, because the way this skill works, then it doesn't cost me a card play, which is absolutely amazing. So again, an awesome card. But let's have a look at the final one. The final card we'll look at here is a legendary Midnight Suns card. It's called Inferno Spider. Once again, another great card here. So the next 3 Spider-Man cards are free. You draw a Spider-Man card and it has exhaust, meaning that you can only use it once per round, but getting free cards means essentially if you use this in the Spider-Man cards and then you've already got free card plays available for your other characters, you can draw 6 cards in a turn, and of course that's not counting any cards that could be quick that will give you a card play back. So overall this is really great, really keeps Spidey going and just absolutely smashing everyone. So that's all the cards, really good cards overall. Let's talk about the stats now. With the research options that are available in the game, one of them unlocks daily sparring for you. Now with your daily sparring you can choose a hero and you can upgrade the stat of the day on them depending on the hero you actually choose. When it comes to Spider-Man, I would say that his strengths are probably his AoE attacks because he has quite a few of them. This will be affected by power, so if you get the chance of upgrading power, you then most likely want to go for Spider-Man, or if you go for strength, this can be nice as well. This will increase knockback effect, and Spidey has a fair amount of knockbacks in his kit as well. So the 2 to go for, once again, it's power and strength. Now next, let's talk about the Hangouts and the friendship system. So your Hangouts are really important then, because after you hit max level 5 for a character for friendship, you unlock a prestige system, and every time you level up after that via friendship, you'll gain a random stat for your character, so the stat increases can really build up and make a huge difference on them. Now when you do your Hangouts, the hero in question will either love it, like it or hate it. I've got a list of all the ones that Spider-Man loves, so these are the ones you want to do for him. I will do an infographic at a later date for this so you've got a better note of it, but for the purpose of this video for Spider-Man, you want to do playing video games, watching a movie, deep conversation and stargazing. When you do your daily hangouts, the ones that he loves and you'll get the most points from, it's bird watching, mushroom picking, painting and also picnic. So they're the ones that you want to go for. Now next up, let's talk about the challenge mission for him. So the challenge mission then is essentially a puzzle that each of the heroes has to pass in order to unlock their Midnight Suns costume and also their Midnight Suns card, and the Midnight Suns cards are genuinely pretty strong, so you really want to unlock these. Now these are puzzles in that you have to do them a very specific way. Some of them are really pretty tricky, so I'm going to show you, or I am showing you at the moment, a walkthrough of this. You want to follow it step by step, don't deviate from this at all, and as long as you do this then you unlock the Midnight Suns card for Spider-Man. We'll finish up here with some gameplay for Spider-Man. Overall, he's a hero that I really enjoy. I do feel that environmental attacks, especially late game and once you start upping the difficulties, they do fall behind a little bit. One change that would really help that out, I've already mentioned in the video, is if the strengthened, that he is able to apply the additional 50% damage, if that applied to your environmental attacks as well. If it did, then you could go a lot harder on environmental attacks late game with Spidey. As it is, I just mainly use the cards on him by and large, but the cards are really fun. He's definitely got one of the best decks in the game from a fun perspective, and he can put out a good amount of damage and crowd control on top of that as well. Everything Spidey really should be able to do. But with that, that's everything you need to know. I'll let this gameplay play out here, but if the video is helpful, once again, please take the time to hit the like, share and subscribe button. If you want early access to other videos in this series, consider becoming a channel member. But enjoy this gameplay, thanks for tuning in, stay safe, and I'll see you all again soon.
Let's try something new.
As good as everybody says.
Happy to help. I haven't lost their interest yet. It's over.
Guess we're not done.
Roger that. Just the boost I needed.